Let's work on facial controls. I'd say we can use geometry for our facial controls. Let's head over to the Create panel, and using a standard primitive, we could start by working with a pyramid. So we'll just drag that on our grid. Go ahead and bring up the height. And heading over to our Modify panel, let's go ahead and make the width and the depth the same. Okay, once that's done, we can go ahead and snap this to the first envelope object that we made. So we'll just press Shift A and snap. And there we have it, our facial control, the only one that we need. Yes, as we move this, it'll take care of all of the expressions. Alright, let's see if we go ahead and scale this down. So the animator doesn't get mad at us. And then from there, we can head over to our hierarchy panel. Go to our rotate tool and just rotate the shape of this using effect object only, making sure angle snap is on. We'll rotate this -90 degrees in the X. Alright, from here I'd like to maybe scale this down just a little bit more. And with, again, effect object only still turned on, we can definitely bring this out so it's a little bit easier to select. Alright, now it's just a matter of cloning this to the others. So we'll just hold down Shift, drag out, create two more. This last one, of course, will be quick snap to the last helper. And we'll quick snap this second one to the mid helper. Okay. Alright, that looks good. Let's say we go ahead and rename them. We can then mirror them over and then work on recoloring them. And we can work on the top brows. So for the first, being that this is geometry that we're working with, this is going to be GC, geometry control underscore L underscore brow skin underscore A01. Copy that, go to the next, paste, and rename, and do the same for the last. Go ahead and copy the name, paste, and there we go. Now, before we clone these over, remember these pieces, they're geometry that we're working with, so it's going to show up in our render. If we were to go ahead and try to render this out, okay, we won't want that happening, right? So let's say we go ahead and turn off their renderability from their object properties. Now, one thing you could do is actually use the macro recorder to speed this up. So let's say if we were to right click, open up our listener window, head over to the macro recorder and turn that on with enable. Now if we were to right click on this object, go to object properties, turn off renderable, okay, we have the code that we need to do that for the rest of these. So it's just a matter of turning off enable now. We don't need that on. We can select both controls, highlight this line, and hit enter on your number pad. And now if we were to check this out again, they won't show up. Okay, so we can now go ahead and close this out. And now we're ready to mirror these across. So with all three selected, get to our mirror tool. We want to make a copy. We can go ahead and offset these now. They're not mirroring in the best way, but that's fine. We could just go ahead and hit OK and just realign these. So this first one here, the one furthest to our right, we'll just go ahead and press Shift A and snap that to the first envelope on the right side. Take care of the middle one and the last. Let's go ahead and rename these, and then we can recolor them. Alright, so I'll just copy this name here, go to the next, paste that in, and that's going to be B. and A. Great, so for a coloring for this, so we can go with a darker shade of green. Okay, so we can apply that to the others. And then for the left side, we can go with a darker shade of blue, just so it's easier to see these. Alright, so now that we have these brow skin controls set up, we can go ahead and work on the upper controls. So let's head over back to the Create panel, and let's use a geosphere. I never really use that too much. So I'll just go ahead and draw that. And then we'll go ahead and snap that to the first object there. Can head over to the Modify panel and bring down its radius. Okay, I'd say to about 0.5. That looks good. So from here, we'll head over to our Hierarchy panel, Affect Object Only, and bring this up again so it's easy to select. I'll also recolor this again with that same shade of blue. With it being a different shape, we won't have any conflict. Now that that's done, of course we want to head over to our listener window and turn off its renderability. That way, as we clone these, it takes care of the others. Alright, let's say we rename this. That's going to be GC L Brow 01. Oh, of course, underscore A01. And we'll copy that name. Let's say we now go ahead and clone this over. I'll just bring that over. Create two more. Select that object. Go ahead and quick snap it to the mid helper, and then the last one to the end. Alright, it's just a matter of renaming these now. So that's going to be C at the end. 01. Go to the next. And that's B. Alrighty, great. So from here, let's say we go ahead and select these now, and again, mirror them over. Choose OK, and just quickly snap these back. As far as the amount of control we want to give the animator here, we're going to allow them to scale these as well, so we won't be locking any of our transform tracks. We want to give them the most amount of control to get some really interesting expressions going on. Alright, let's say we go ahead and rename these and recolor them on the right side, and then we'll go ahead and move on to the next lesson where we'll finish up by adding parent controls. We're not just going to want to have these individual controls to work with, we want something to drive the entire group. Okay, so we'll use that green we've been using for the right side, and there we have it. Okay, so again, we've set up our facial controls in this lesson. So by the next lesson, we're ready to finish up this process here by adding parent controls.